Hello there. Good morning. Welcome yet again to my YouTube channel. This is Guided Dreams, and I am Dr. City Onyema from the Guided Dreams team, your number one education, migration, and lifestyle hub here in Ontario, Canada. It's a beautiful morning looking out of my window here in Ontario, Canada. And I say welcome back again to another exciting and amazing section on this YouTube channel. So today we are going to discuss common mistakes of international students abroad, not just in Canada, and I will be sharing my own personal experience how I oh my god, I screwed up, guys. I screwed up a lot of things during my first time as an international student here in Canada. Remember, I have two-time experience as an international student. So as we move along, I will tell you guys what I did very badly. Things that keep coming back to haunt me because of those wrong decisions I did in the past, and how I'm struggling, to catch up on lost times. And hopefully you will learn a thing or two from this section and do better as an international student anywhere in the world, and especially right here in Canada. So, if this sounds exciting, let's deep dive. Okay, the first thing I kind of screwed up, like I said, was coming from an African country where we try to avoid debt in any way. Okay, we don't like to owe anything. Whatever we want, we try to save up and purchase. So during my first time arrival, banks in Canada that I approached, to open banks accounts, um, they offered me credit card. Okay, so because I'm someone who doesn't like to incur any form of debts, I said no to all the credit card guys, and that was one of the biggest mistakes I made during my first time in Canada as an international student. So I did not use any credit card. And what does that mean? That means for the 2 years I spent studying in Canada, I had no credit score. So what is actually this credit score? So credit score is usually a number that ranges from 300 to 900 and shows how credit worthy a consumer is. So when you want to maybe rent a house, buy a car, even buy a house, right? They do check your credit history. Okay, so as you use these credit cards judiciously, and as you pay back as at when due, your credit score begins to grow. So for my 2 years, I was paying cash or using my debit card because I had no idea of the value of having a credit card. So I had total zero credit score at the end of my 2 years in Canada. And how did that affect me? So when I returned back 2 years after, as a permanent resident in Canada, I had no credit score. So whenever I go to rent a house, the landlord will say, give us your credit score, we're gonna do a credit search and things like that. Within me, I know I had nothing. So I had zero credit score because I rejected all the credit cards. So guys, please, first thing, get a credit card, at least one. That will help you to build your credit score within a year or two that your program will be valid. Okay, so like I said, credit cost simply is a way of assessing how credit worthy anyone is. Because believe you me, it's a different ball game right here. So this is a credit economy. Whatever you need, you can buy on credit. Okay, but we will get into that, how you use this judiciously. But like I said, Please do not forget, build your credit score from day one by doing what? Acquiring at least one credit card. And remember, use that credit card wisely. Now, it's advised that you do not spend above 30% of your credit limit. Take for example, if your credit card you are approved for that the maximum you can carry as a student is $1,000 monthly. Okay, the bank approved your card for $1,000 limit monthly. So by all means, try not to spend more than $300 every month. Sometimes you might go above it, but make it a habit not to spend more than 30% of your maximum credit card limit every month. That is a sure way to boost your credit score. And secondly, remember to pay back as at when due. Sometimes your due date might be on the 20th or 25th, it depends. Okay, so if your due date is 20th of every month, make sure you pay back the amount you have on that card before the 20th of every month. Another thing that is confusing is this. Some banks, all of them, will tell you this is the minimum balance you can pay. Sometimes you owe $200 and you see that in your statement they will tell you minimum you can pay is $10. Please do not pay $10. Pay completely, because if you pay just $10, they're gonna take $10 out of the whole $200 that you have, and you still have what? $190, and interest will be accruing on that $190. So rather than paying that minimum statement balance they told you that you can pay, please clear out everything you owe on that credit card before the due date. If you do this consistently, you will see your credit score begin to climb. And the higher your score, the cheaper the interest rates when you go to acquire certain things. Please don't be like me. Don't say no to all the credit cards. Acquire at least one. On the other hand, banks, organizations will be coming at you, to get you to enroll in all manner of cards. Please do not. I beg you, do not take more than you can handle. Do not take more than you can handle. As a student, one is fine, maximum two, okay, and use it judiciously. So that's point number one. Okay, point number two. What I screwed up as well as my second, screw up is that when I came in, I decided to stick with a particular mobile carrier for 2 years. I mean, believe me, that was a wrong move. I shouldn't have done that, okay? I shouldn't have stuck to a particular mobile provider for 2 years. What am I doing? So usually there are points where you have sales during festive periods like the Black Friday, like the Christmas and things like that, okay? Even any festivity you can think of, intermittently, even between two festivities, various companies, they do their sales. So what I should have done is to move, what you call port. If provider A is charging me 30, I think I was paying $35 monthly, then I could have gotten something maybe way cheaper if I moved to B. But I didn't have that knowledge, right? I just decided to stay for 2 years. So let's say I had moved to another provider after maybe 6 months or whenever, and I could have saved, let's say, $5 each month. That's $60 in a year. So do not stay too long with a particular provider. Shop around. If you go to the malls, ask them questions. Do you guys have anything? Do you guys have any what do you call it now? Are you guys doing any promotion? Are there things on sale? There are always sales every time. So you have to just ask questions, okay? And the second thing is this, that you are porting from one provider to the other doesn't mean you're going to lose your number. Your number stays the same. So I mean, why shouldn't I do that, okay? And get something better. All right. So that's point number 2. Do not stick to a service provider for too long. Shop around. They get shop around, get better deals. Retain your number for sure. They're not going to take away your number. That's the good part of it. So your contacts are still there for you. Okay. So opening of bank accounts. Number 3. I think that's one of the things I did well. Okay, so I had to ask questions. Which of the banks are very student friendly? Those that some banks will not charge you for the first year. Okay, some banks will also charge you for the first year. Some will not charge you for as long as 2 years. So you have to, as a matter of fact, ask questions. Okay, it might interest you to know that when I came in from Nigeria with a phone that was not compatible. Surprisingly, I bought this I wouldn't mention. I bought this Android phone from Nigeria. Pretty good phone as back then in 2018. And I came over to Nigeria, came over to Canada, and it wasn't compatible. It wasn't working on any of their networks. Call it Fido, Kuda, Bell, Virgin, what have you. None was compatible on my device. So I asked a question and I was told that a particular bank was, giving an option of either you have a smartphone, either they give you an iPhone 5S as a then, or they give you a smartwatch. So I said, no, I don't have any need for a watch now. I need a phone, because then I had no way to communicate. Once I leave my area without a Wi-Fi, I'm incommunicado, right? So I had to go to this bank and I opted for them to give me a free phone. So I got my first iPhone for free here in Canada, right? So even currently, some of the banks are giving tablets when you open an account with them. So look around, ask questions. Even the internet is there for you. Do comparison and you can get some amazing deals. Okay, that's point number 4 now. So point number 4 for me was when I came in, I was looking for somewhere that had a cheaper accommodation because I had nobody. As a matter of fact, the only friend I had was far. Did I have any friend in 2018 here before I came in? I don't think so. No, I had nobody. It was when I came back the second time. I must have built my network and I had a couple of people I could ask questions and rely on for things. So what I did was one of the professors, a Nigerian professor, was very, very helpful. So he helped me to get what you call a homestay. Okay, so in a homestay is like when somebody has a home and they have a room to spare and they are approved officially to take in international students to live with them. So I was pretty excited when that professor found that place for me somewhere in east of Winnipeg, okay, which takes me like 45 minutes to get there by bus or more, because our school is in downtown Winnipeg, but my living area is pretty far away from downtown Winnipeg. So but I was happy because it was very cheap. So I stayed in with the lady. Very amazing experience with the lady, right? She was very helpful, supportive, made my integration a lot easier. But on the downside of it is I was taken away from the school environment, right? So my focus is leave early in the morning, get to the lab, do my work, have that little or no time to network with people, jump on the next bus back to my home. So it gave me little or no time to network with people. So remember, here in Canada you always hear networking is the key. it's not necessarily um, what you can do, but it's about how do you get opportunity to show what you can do. I repeat, it's not necessarily about what you can do, but how you get that opportunity to even show what you can do. Because a lot of us, we know things, we can prove ourselves, but if nobody gives you that opportunity, you cannot prove yourself, right? So I stayed in that little room in east of Winnipeg, commuting to downtown Winnipeg for my studies, and I had no good network. All right, so I will advise you, be intentional as much as possible as an international student. Be intentional with your friendship. If you can, stay close to the school environment. There is these positive vibes. You will be in the know of what's going on, okay? So that you can build that network within a year or two. Don't go lock up yourself somewhere because it's more affordable, okay? And you are cut out of the world. So please, like I said, be intentional with your social cycle. It could be your church, it could be your mosque, it could be in this era rather of social media. It could be your WhatsApp groups. There are good, strong WhatsApp groups and even Telegram groups that you can belong to and network. So that's point number 4. Okay, before we get to point number 5, I would like to ask you, have you subscribed to this channel? We try as much as possible to give you value, okay? So when you subscribe, you will be the first to know. Some of the things we share here are time bound, okay? So as you're helping us to grow by subscribing, liking, comment, you will also be in the know in case we share something that is time bound, okay? So please help us to subscribe, like, comment, and God will bless you. All right, thank you for that. Now, talking about what will continue on the issue of where you live and things like that, I would also like to say this. This is my personal opinion, right? I had not a roommate because I didn't share my room with anybody, but I had a next door neighbor during my stay who was in another discipline entirely. Okay, so the young man as well left the homestay within a couple of months. And looking back, I realized why he did that. Because if we weigh both of our social networks, he built better networks than I did. Okay, so be intentional. Even if you are sharing your room with someone, yeah, people will tell you share with someone who is also doing your course of study. Okay, but to me personally, that might backfire because both of you might be doing your quizzes at the same time, doing your exams at the same time, so the house chores will not be done, leading to boom, fracas. So if as much as possible, have a roommate that is not in the same course of study as you are. Even if it must be the same course of study, but maybe higher than you, so that your schedules and your exams will not be at the same time. You get what I mean? Yeah, so that you guys will have, if someone is taking an exam, the other person could be free to do the house chores, so that you don't have no clashes and things like that. Now, point number 5 or 6, it doesn't matter now. Now, the next point here is being intentional with your course of study. Okay, now if you are a prospective student, you still have an opportunity to learn from this point and make the right choice. I've had the opportunity to discuss with a lot of international students, and the truth of the matter is some of them, the courses they choose is just because they want to gain an admission, get their visa, and travel to Canada, right? We know all this. So it becomes very irrelevant. You don't have an intention to pursue that course. And at the end of the day, what happens? The zeal is not there. Even if you finish, you might finish poorly, or you don't even have a job that is tied to that particular course. Okay, so I will have to put it this way. Even if you've already chosen a course that is very irrelevant to the location you are, because as a matter of fact, all locations in Canada are not the same when it comes to job opportunities, right? So even if you've chosen a course that is not that the job prospect in that location is not so strong, you might have that option of leaving the province later. Okay, but if you haven't chosen any course yet, please choose a course that is relevant to the location that you want to go to. Because why I say this is this: if you choose a course that the job prospect is very low, at the end you might not be able to utilize your postgraduate work permit and make it in sync with your experience. That will enable you to get your PR at the end of the day. Because if your course of study is not related to what you're doing, it will not qualify. Take for example, I spoke with a young lady in one of the African stores. She's here, I think her background was biochemistry or something like that, but she desired to do something as a flight attendant. So when I asked her, is your program PGWP? I've said a lot about PGWP. So if you want to know how to check if your program is PGWP and stuff like that, check out this video up here. So when I spoke to her, first thing first, she doesn't know, but she said she will check. So I showed her how to check. She said, thank you, I will check. But she said, the problem is even this. This is my course of study in one of the popular colleges here in Ontario. Very beautiful school, no doubt. This is my course of study. I cannot even work because to work as a flight attendant, I need to be either a permanent resident or a citizen, which I'm not yet. So I'm stuck. So I told her, what do you intend doing? She said, obviously, I'm going to do a second course. So guys, be smart. Even that course you're choosing, make sure you can use it to work at the end of the day. Because the truth of the matter is this: most international students are here to study and to gain permanent residency and work your way to citizenship down the road, right? But if your desire is just to come study and go back to your home country, that is perfect. Okay, so that's a common mistake people do as well. We'll be back to continue on this. All right, welcome back. So another important point where I would like you to screw up is not processing my driver's license. Now, the cost of your insurance is also dependent, among other factors actually, on the number of years of experience you have driving in Canada. The amount of experience you have driving anywhere else in the world except the US, where they kind of recognize their driver's license, it doesn't count. Any other part of the world, especially those coming from third world country, doesn't really count. You're still going to take the tests. Now, the experience you have back home, in my own case, I have over 12 years of experience driving back home. The only thing it did for me was to help me to skip one of the tests. For example, you have 3 stages. You write your knowledge test, which is called the G1. You go for the road test, which is called the G2, and the final one, which is the G. So I did the knowledge test. Then because I had that 12 years of experience, I skipped the G2 and I did the G. I attempted the G once. Assuming I had failed the G, I'll go back to the G2. So for me to do that, I was able to just get my, what you call the driver's extract from Abuja and I proved that I've been driving in Nigeria for 12 years, and they recognized that and granted me the access to attempt the G. If you are here already and you didn't come with the driver's extract, you can get that from the Nigerian consulate in Ottawa. Now, I did not pursue my driver's license in 2018. I left it for when I came back the second time. That would have given me, assuming I pursued it in 2018, on returning in 2020, that is 2 years after, I would have had 2 years of driving experience, which would have reduced the amount of money I was charged for my car insurance. Right? So even if you don't have any intention of buying a car now as an international student, please go get your driver's license. It's not that expensive. When you have it, your driving experience will start counting from the day one. Does it make sense? For me, because I had no Canadian experience, the cheapest I was charged was $400 and something monthly. Assuming I had that 2 years experience, guess what? I would have been paying $200, $250. But the cheapest, some companies were giving me $600, $800 as a quote. So this guy gave me 4 something and I ran to him. But assuming I got that in 2018, keep the driver's license with me until maybe when I will need it in 2020. I'll have 2 years of driving experience in Canada. My insurance will be what? 50% cheaper or more. So go get your driver's license now. Start the process, even if you're not going to use it. You don't know, in the future, you might need it. Get it now. Let your driving experience in Canada start counting for the future. Okay? Now, another important thing we are going to talk about is wrong choice of province. Now I hear people, they will tell you, I chose this province because I have a friend, I have my family there. I get it. Those are valid reasons. But please, I'll urge you, if you are still a prospective student, please, it's better you choose provinces where your experiences will count. Take, for example, if I'm someone in IT, real estate, in finance, what have you again around here, insurance, by all means, come to Ontario because your experiences are in demand. But I will not be someone whose experience is in agriculture, agri-value products, and I will try to come into Ontario. I would rather go to Saskatchewan, a province that is known for their agriculture and agri-value product sector, as well as other sectors, of course. But I believe you get what I mean. Make sure that your choice of province, even your choice of course, is in demand. Now, to know jobs in demand in Canada, we'll have this video up here that you can quickly go and check. Another final example on this is this. If I'm someone like my strength is in petroleum, wood products, wood-related products, food processing, especially meat processing, I'll go to Alberta because that is the oil and gas region of Canada, right? I believe you get the point now. Okay, so if we move on quickly, what are the other things we need to talk about here? You know, bringing more clothes than food. Coming from a hot region, our clothes are not really what you need here because Canada is colder, right? Canada is the months that you are cold in Canada is a lot bigger than when you're hot. The winter period, the spring and all that, they are quite cold. So I would advise you, because for example African foods are more expensive, bring in more food than clothing, because in here you get the right clothes for the right time of the year. Making sense? Good job. Now, for you to get these cheap clothes, you have the trips, what you call the thrift stores, the Salvation Armies, the Value Village, and things like that. And you see people as well giving out things that they don't need. So that your luggage space, getting more native foods that are quite pricey, okay, and purchase your clothes when you come in. Does that make sense now? Amazing. At this point, I would like to urge you, if you haven't done this, please like, comment, subscribe, share this video for others to benefit. Thank you while you're doing that. Now, as we close with this, I've seen people purchase irrelevant, expensive things. Irrelevant and expensive, right? I'm sorry, but I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money. But remember, most of the things you're going to purchase, if you don't really need them, can you shelve them for later? Save up some money for the future? Because as a matter of fact, whatever you need, those expensive cars, let's analyze it. If you buy a brand new car as a part-time student, how much is your salary? It's going to take over 45% of your part-time income. So you're going to be so low on cash that you don't have a choice than to do what? Get a second job, maybe start doing Uber Eats, DoorDash, Instacart. These are good jobs that can put food on your table, but they're going to take your time, right? They're going to take the time you need to study, develop these skills that will help you to learn better jobs that will comfortably afford these things. Remember, these things are purchased on credit most times. So since they're purchased on credit, like we say back home, bring meat is from the cow's body. So you purchasing these things are on your credit card. So at the end of the day, you have so much debts to pay. Remember, you need to pay before the due date, and also do not exceed 30% of your credit card limit. How do you do all this? So what do I have as a solution? If you really need a car, for example, there's a case of a guy whose job is in downtown Toronto. His school is at Kitchener. He commutes 2 hours to and fro. So what should such a person do? Simply go buy a cheap car, maybe from Kijiji or from Facebook Marketplace. Ask them to safety certify it so that you'll be sure. Or you can even take it to your mechanic. They will look it out. Be sure that it's working and functional, and you buy it in cash. It will not be expensive because it's just a cheap car that can take you from point A to point B. And you save those monies on your brand new cars that you're going to pay, even if you're leasing or financing. Still the same thing, bi-weekly or monthly payment, lots of money. Does that make sense? If yes, give us a like, give us a comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. If you differ in any of these points, like I said, these are my experiences. Let's interact in the comment section as well. So there you have it. These, like I said, they are my 2 cents, and they are not like rules that you have to follow, but these are lived experiences and things that are still haunting me now, like not using my credit card, not getting my driver's license. My experience should have been higher than now. So these are my experiences where I erred, which I believe if you learn a thing or two and apply it anywhere in the world where you are as an international student, especially if you still want to remain in that country, you will have a smoother life, you will have an easier life, save some cash, get things faster, get settled quicker, and have a fulfilling experience as an international student anywhere in the world, and especially here in Canada. So on this note, we are going to say goodbyes. I wish you and your family a memorable and a sweet Christmas celebration, and I will see you in yet another one. Adios.